Hi, in this topic I would like to speak about the Ascension process and the different levels of consciousness that we are descending into the form. So what is Ascension? Well, in my perspective, Ascension is a descension of our higher consciousness into the form. 144. What does the number 144 mean? 144 is the total amount of overtones within 12 dimensions of consciousness. What does the Kryst mean? The Kryst means 12. The Kryst means the same as 144. It means 12 dimensions of consciousness, which is 4 density levels. As you can see here, I've written down 4 different densities. Each density level represents an identity level, which within each density there is 3 dimensions. So for example, in density 1 there is dimensions 1 to 3. So that's the first dimension, second dimension and third dimension. That makes up density 1, and that's what we call carbon matter. Now as we go up in the scale, we get dimensions 4 to 6, which makes up the second identity level, which is density 2, and that makes up the crystalline structure of carbon. It's like matter but a far less dense form. Some call it the silicon matrix, the silicon structure, but I'll call it the crystalline because that's what more people call it. Crystalline matter. So now we get to density 3, which is dimensions 7 to 9. And this is the third level of identity, which makes up etheric matter, etheric, which is like ghost sort of matter. Like if you looked at a ghost, what people think ghosts are like, that's what sort of matter it is, like ghostly. Etheric matter. And now we get to density 4, which is made up of from dimensions 10 to 12, and this is the 4th level of identity, which makes up the liquid light biology. Now as you can see, we have 4 densities, each with 3 dimensions in, which makes up a total of 12 dimensions of consciousness. And within each dimension there is 12 overtones. If you think of a keyboard like a piano, within each octave there is 5 black keys and 7 white keys, which gives you a total of 12 keys. Within each dimension, think of each dimension as an octave on a piano. Within each dimension there are 12 keys, and that makes up one dimension. And with the Kryst 144, this represents the total amount of keys within the 4 density levels, or the total amount of keys within 12 dimensions. Now the light body, what this means is the same as what that means. There's nothing different. It's just different words have been used to explain the same thing. A lot of the confusion comes from the different words used, but some people don't realise is that it's actually referring to the same process but with different words. So the process that we are going through is the dissension of all these dimensions, all these density levels into one universal embodiment. Don't ask me why I'm drawing an alien. I don't know. Well, I'm not very good at drawing, you see. Right, so all of this, 4 density levels, the Ascension process is embodying all that into one form. So density 1, density 1, into the form density 2, also into the form density 3, into the form, and density 4 So what this means is also the dimensions relate to the strands of DNA. So for example, dimension 1 represents the first strand of DNA, which also represents the root chakra. Dimension 2 represents the second strand of DNA, and so on, which means there is 12 strands of DNA that are embodying into the form, and this is what people refer to as the Adam Cadman body. Other people call it the divine blueprint. Other people call it the Kryst avatar. All of these words are relating to the same thing. It's relating to the Ascension process, the dissension of the Krysted blueprint, the return of the original blueprint before any distortions occurred within our DNA. What other people say is it's the angelic blueprint. The humans are returning to their immortalised natures. Because before the fall happened, we used to be immortal. We didn't used to die. The fact that we die is the result of the distortions within the DNA. Once we have 12 chakras, 12 DNA strands all activated and integrated into the form, then we have literally just become immortal and transcended the death process. Because after that, we simply transmute the form even further. Without needing to drop the form through the death process, we can simply transmute it up into our higher consciousness. And this is the process that humanity is going through right now. So that'll do for this video, and thank you very much for listening and watching. I'm looking to do many more in the future. So thank you and peace.